All right, welcome back. USA Women's Soccer did it again. That's 4 World Cup championships in the 8 times they've done it. And even in those other years, they were significant factors. But that's pretty amazing. But they're also getting a lot of international criticism based on celebrations. I wasn't sure if that was tea sipping or marijuana smoking, but when I first saw it, I didn't know what to think. But and then after that,
Piers Morgan.
I'm just saying, when I first saw it, you have to admit it was a little confusing. But then there's been political statements by Megan Rapinoe. So, Andrew, is this team likable? Apparently, a lot of people overseas says they're not likable.
Very complicated legacy. The team 20 years ago that won the World Cup at the Rose Bowl had a woman stripped down to her sports bra, and they got called out for it. So this is a thing we're kind of used to seeing with the Women's World Cup team. At the end of the day, likable for me. It's a little bit complicated. But, I don't quit loving, say, Syracuse basketball because they have a guy jump up on the scorer's table and pump his chest a little bit. I don't always like over-the-top celebrations, but I'm not going to quit the U.S. women's team because they poured it on Thailand.
Yeah, you know what, Bob? I think it's not just people overseas that didn't like him. I think there's some people at Pennsylvania Avenue in D.C. that didn't like him either, and a lot of people that like him didn't like them. But honestly, from my point of view, I like them a lot more than I like the coverage of them. Like I was joking before for the smooth move about the Megan Rapinoe and the American Eagle thing, but my God, like it felt like after they won today, it was a race to see who could gush the most and just puke praise as much as possible just for the sake of looking good, because you want to make it look like you're promoting soccer and promoting women's sports where, for a women's team, I've never seen more straw men built.
But did you want them to win, Tim?
I did want them to win because, I root for America in that. But, I wanted to see them win, but I just didn't like how they were presented as this little engine that could, this poor, oppressed little engine that could, where 90% of the gambling money came in on them. They're an overwhelming favorite.
Some of Paul Zeiss's money, too, from what I understand. But that's okay.
I can't sit here and pretend that I understand everything about soccer, but one of the things I don't understand about the Women's World Cup team in this entire run is, like, why so many people get mad over it. I mean, my God, somebody's offended over the celebration. Somebody is offended about what games are on when. It's like nobody can have.
That was dumb, too.
But that was them. They brought that on themselves.
That's what I mean.
I know, but why it's a soccer tournament. Can't we talk about soccer? Why does somebody have to be offended or mad, or somebody didn't do something the right way, or something has to be stupid, or somebody said something?
Well, because they're not.
Just talk about soccer.
But they're not giving cliche answers. They're actually giving opinions, and they have strong personal beliefs.
You can give normal answers and actually talk about the sport as opposed to the charade that surrounds it.
Well, the sport's not all that interesting. I mean, let's face it. The United States is kicked because it's a
we can't explain why the sport might be interesting?
It's a one-nation sport right now, is it not?
I agree with you, but you're going to have the tournament, so let's talk about the sport. If you want to tune it out, tune it out.
All right. Tim, you were ready to say something quickly.
I was just going to say, again, it's about sort of the dialogue surrounding it, where Megan Rapinoe is incorrigible, where we want to take Alex Morgan and, like Twitter likes to say, inject her into our veins. Well, you know what? When Charles Barkley was throwing elbows at guys from Angola, we were vilifying him. And when Vince Carter was dunking in people's faces in the World Championships, we were ugly Americans. We just seem to have this double standard about how we talk about the women as opposed to how we talk about the men.
All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, Francisco Cervelli, what's his future like in Pittsburgh? Next.